Now for our story. In Judge Willoughby's courtroom, where the case of Meade versus Calvert was in its last day, there was a general air of anticipation, a sense that something exciting was about to happen. Curious eyes traveled from Kit Calvert, who sat next to her stepmother, holding the baby over whom the legal argument centered, to Peggy Douglas, the young woman Bill Meade loved, sitting pale but outwardly composed among the members of the Lane household. Many observed the anxious, troubled look which passed between Peggy and Bill, and wondered what the outcome would be as they glanced toward Nicholas Dorn, Peggy's fiancé, who was also present. Jessie Calvert, Ben's wife and Kit's stepmother, is among the most interested of the spectators, still hopeful that some turn of events may cause the judge to award the baby to Bill Meade. Now she turns to Kit.
Is the baby still asleep, Kit?
Yes, but he's beginning to get restless. It would be just my luck if he woke up and started a fuss.
Well, if you're tired, I'll be glad to hold him for a while.
No, thank you.
I hardly expected you'd want me to. You look very much the picture of wronged motherhood. The judge is sure to be sympathetic.
Jessie, you're a cat.
I do wonder where Aunt Mary is. It's not like her to stay away at such a time. Farnsworth is certain to call Peggy today.
That's something I'm going to enjoy.
Aunt Mary being away intrigues me. I wonder if she has something up her sleeve. What could she...
Of course she has nothing up her sleeve. How could she?
I'm sure I don't know, except that all along I've had a feeling that all the facts in this case haven't been brought out. There's something missing.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Jessie, won't you ever stop harping on that? It should be perfectly obvious
that... No. Don't forget yourself. Remember the part you're playing. Innocent, patient, long-suffering. That's better. You won't have to control yourself much longer. This is the last day. Oh, here's the judge now.
Members of the court will please rise. Superior Court in the County of Wakefield is now in session. Judge Willoughby presiding.
Your Honor, I'm ready with my first witness, Miss Peggy Douglas. Be seated, Miss Douglas. Now, you mustn't be nervous. I have a few simple questions to put to you. I'm sure you're interested in our arriving at a just decision in this case.
Of course I am.
I thought so. Then if you'll just answer the questions I ask, you'll find it's not much of an ordeal at all.
I'm quite ready to begin, Mr. Farnsworth.
But you see, we have to wait for the bailiff. He seems to be very busy back there adjusting the transom. Bailiff, if you please.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir. Raise your right hand, miss. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Farnsworth?
Your Honor?
Are you planning to call the infant itself as your next witness?
The child is present for a good reason, Your Honor. Since there is no longer a nurse to care for the child at the Calvert home, my client wished to bring the baby here so that she could watch over it properly.
Most commendable, I'm sure. Very well. Proceed.
What is your name, please?
Margaret Douglas.
Margaret, popularly known as Peggy, is that right?
Yes, most people call me Peggy. That is, my friends do.
Very well. Miss Douglas, you're acquainted with the plaintiff in this case, are you not? That is, you know Mr. Meade.
Certainly I do.
Would you say Bill Meade is a good friend of yours?
Yes, I would.
How good a friend, Miss Douglas?
How good? Well, I'm not sure I understand.
Well, Miss Douglas, suppose I put it like this. There are friendships of varying degrees, are there not? That is, there are casual friendships. And then there are friendships which might be called close friendships. Now, on that basis, how would you classify your relationship to Mr. Meade?
Objection. Objection sustained.
Miss Douglas, you've known Mr. Meade for some time, have you not?
Why, yes.
How long would you say you've known him?
Well, altogether, about 3 years.
You met during the war, did you not?
Yes,
This was before Mr. Meade's marriage to Miss Calvert?
certainly it was.
It was during a period of emergency. The young man was unknown in town, and a rapid friendship sprang up based on the ruthless, restless spirit of the times, when young people were cut off from their ordinary peaceful ties, cast loose. During this period, then, this time of emotional upheaval, you and Mr. Meade became friends. Is that true?
It is?
Mr. Meade came frequently to your home. He was, you might say, part of your family.
Well, I don't...
I mean, he was well acquainted with your Aunt Mrs. Lane and the other members of the household. Had dinners there and so on.
Oh, yes.
And there were many times when you were alone together. Went on picnics. Went canoeing in the warm summer evenings. Did you not?
Yes, we did the things most people do in the summer.
Exactly. And you did something many people do at any season. That is, you fell in love.
Objection.
Your Honor, I submit that the question whether these two young people were actually in love is entirely pertinent in view of what followed later. In view of a shattered marriage. A struggle for custody of the victim of that shattered marriage. If this is not pertinent, then the intentions of the child's father are not. The man who dares to seek custody of a child he abandoned.
Objection! Objection sustained. You know the rules of the court, Mr. Farnsworth. These hold as well in Huntsville as they do in your home city, Chicago. You will please abide by them.
All right, Miss Douglas. Now regarding this period of your friendship with Mr. Meade. Before he met his wife-to-be. At that time, in the course of the many hours you spent together, you must have discussed, as young people do, your plans, your aspirations and ideals, did you not?
Why, yes.
You talked about the future, about marriage and parenthood, too, I suppose.
Yes.
Try to remember, Miss Douglas. Did Mr. Meade ever express a desire to have children at some future time when he might marry?
Yes, Bill, he said he hoped to be a father someday.
I see. Well, let's discuss a somewhat more recent period. Since Mr. Meade met and fell in love with Miss Calvert. You must have been surprised when that happened, were you not?
Surprised? I suppose I was, in a way.
I thought so. But in any case, Mr. Meade was married. And after some time, his wife went away to California. While Miss Calvert, then Mrs. Meade, was away, Miss Douglas, did you at any time see her husband, her former sweetheart?
Yes, I did.
You saw him. That is, you were with him even though he was married, and you knew his wife was out of town.
Well, he was stationed at Camp Downing. The road to the camp goes right past our farm. It was only natural he'd stop in occasionally. There was nothing wrong.
Did I suggest there was anything wrong, Miss Douglas? Well, let me ask you this. Is it not true that during this period when Mr. Meade's wife was expecting a child, living alone in California, thousands of miles away, that Mr. Meade told you he intended to get a divorce? That he didn't love his wife? That, in fact, he was still in love with you?
Objection!
Your Honor, there's a law of nature which transcends that which was made by man as a protection to man. These are rules governing human conduct, rules of decency and fair play, a natural law which decrees that motherhood is sacred. I hold that this young soldier, fully aware that his wife was about to have a child, and nevertheless so far forgot his duties as a husband and father-to-be that he returned to this young woman, with whom he had, by her own admission, been in love. This is the man who now attempts to gain possession of the child he wronged so grievously. This is the
Objection! Bill Meade is not being tried in this court, nor is Miss Peggy Douglas. Apparently, Mr. Farnsworth, the rhetoric far exceeds his knowledge of the law. We are here to decide whether Miss Calvert is a fit mother of a child. We're not here...
Your Honor, there's an old Latin saying, the verdict acquits the raven but condemns the dove. I contend that Miss Calvert is indeed a dove in this case. A woman who has suffered the tortures of seeing her home broken, her husband stolen away, and now a plot to take her very child.
Nonsense! You're talking to your husband. You're talking to your abominable marriage.
What you doing, Joe? I warn you.
Oh, my goodness. I never thought it would come to this. It's really quite exciting. What's the matter, kid? Oh, no wonder you're so... Well, I didn't think Aunt Mary would stay away. And isn't that your friend, Mrs. Fenner, with her?
Yes, Jessie. It is Lisa Fenner.
Kit's face had gone dead white as she watched Aunt Mary walk up the aisle toward the front of the room while Lisa seated herself alone on the other side. There was a momentary pause, a hush as Aunt Mary, her footsteps sounding confident and sure, walked calmly toward Bill Meade's attorney, Angus McKillop. Now for our story. It was the last day of Bill Meade's custody suit. Peggy Douglas, on the witness stand, was submitting to the merciless examination of George Farnsworth, the Calvert's attorney, whose purpose was to falsely place the young girl in an unfavorable light, to create a doubt in the judge's mind which might influence his decision in the case. Aunt Mary's son, Randy Lane, and Lefty Larkin, the family's old friend, looked on helplessly, wishing there was some way they could protect Peggy. but powerless to do so. There was one person in the courtroom, however, who was thoroughly enjoying Peggy's unhappiness. Kit Calvert, who sat next to her stepmother, Jessie, holding the baby over whom the custody suit centered. Suddenly, in the midst of intense excitement, after an angry objection by McKillop, the crowd had gone silent.
Why, what's the matter, Kit? Oh, Aunt Mary. So she did get here. And isn't that your little friend, Mrs. Fenner, with her?
Yes, Jessie. It is Lisa Fenner.
Aunt Mary's entrance with Lisa caused a general stir of curiosity as she walked quickly to the front of the room, whispered something to Angus McKillop, Bill's lawyer. Angus looked completely astonished, then walked over and spoke to Judge Willoughby, while Lisa Fenner seated herself quietly. Her dark eyes, large in her pale face, watched Aunt Mary anxiously. As if drawn by force of the younger woman's dependence on her, Aunt Mary looked around and sent Lisa a reassuring little smile. A smile whose warmth and friendliness was noted by Jessie Calvert with some surprise.
Did you see that, Kit? That's odd. I didn't know Mrs. Fenner and Aunt Mary were friends.
Well, apparently they are.
But I wonder what she's doing here. Why would Aunt Mary...
I'm sure I don't know, Jessie. Why don't you wait and find out?
Don't worry. I wouldn't miss this for anything. Something's in the wind. The way Mary Lane comes dashing in, goes straight up to McKillop. I'd certainly like to know what's up.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Jessie, if you'll wait a minute, you'll find out everything you want to know.
Goodness, Kid. I don't see why you're so irritable. The case is obviously going your way. At least it is so far.
You think so?
Of course. You've nothing to be so grim about. If I were in your shoes,
In view of certain unforeseen developments in this case, information which has only now reached this court, we hereby declare a recess of 15 minutes.
Unforeseen developments? What do you think that could mean, Kit?
How should I know?
Well, I wonder why they're going out with the judge, Aunt Mary, and that Mrs. Fenner. And...
Jessie, I can see for myself what's going on. Take the baby a moment, Jessie.
Why, of course, Kit, but where are you going?
I've got to get some fresh air. I feel as if I'm suffocating.
Well, run along, then. You do look rather pale. But don't go too far away. It looks as if something very interesting is about to happen.
Yes, I'm sure of it.
What's wrong with Kit, Jessie? Why is she...
Well, she just went outside for a minute, Ben.
Baby all right?
Is he all right? Well, what does it look like to you?
Just the same dreadful thing to have to haul him down here. Upsets his whole routine.
Well, Mr. Farnsworth seemed to think it would be effective.
Wish to heaven Farnsworth would get over here and explain this delay.
Well, I don't know the reason for it, but I'd certainly say Aunt Mary was the cause of it. What do you think it means, then? Mary's coming in here late with that girl.
Oh, the fool woman. She's probably drummed up some nonsense or other just to stall around.
Well, maybe, but I wouldn't underestimate Mary, Ben. You should really...
Well, Mr. Calvert, this recess is rather a surprise.
I was just saying the same thing to my wife, Farnsworth. Wonder what's up.
Frankly, I haven't the faintest idea, but I wouldn't worry too much, Mr. Calvert. Can't be very important.
No, perhaps not.
Well, it is mysterious, though. They're all going into this huddle.
By the way, what happened to Miss Calvert? I hope she's not taking it too hard.
Well, Kit does seem rather upset. She went out for a breath of air.
I'll tell her to be patient. It won't be long now. We made an excellent showing so far. By the time I'm through questioning Miss Douglas...
Frankly, Mr. Farnsworth, I'm surprised you can get by with that sort of thing.
What do you mean?
Well, the tactics you've been using with Peggy. Actually, she doesn't enter into the case at all, if you come right down to it.
Well, you've heard of poetic license, haven't you, Mrs. Calvert?
Yes, but even so...
Well, if we can get a certain amount of material on the record, in between McKillop's objections, it's all to the good. It has its influence.
I see.
That's why I'm rather put out with this interruption. I was just beginning to hit my stride.
So you were. The girl's testimony was quite damaging the way you brought it out.
That's why I say you shouldn't worry. We've got them just where we want them.
Oh, I suppose so, but, Ben...
Hmm?
Did you notice the girl who came in with Mary Lane?
Girl? What girl?
Oh, dark hair, big eyes.
Yes, I saw her. Look, Jessie, I'd like to talk to Farnsworth. This is no time for irrelevant observations.
Well, maybe it's irrelevant, but why did she go out to the judge's office with Angus and Mary Lane?
How should I know? I don't even know who she is.
Oh, that's right. You weren't at home that day.
At home that day? What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing, Ben. Nothing at all. I was just thinking...
I see they've come in again. Well, it'll be just a matter of minutes now.
The door of the judge's chambers opened. Lisa Fenner remained standing just inside, talking earnestly to the judge and McKillop, while Aunt Mary went up to Peggy Douglas, took her niece's hand in hers.
I'm sorry I couldn't be here first thing this morning, dear. But the train was a little late.
Well, just as long as you did get here, Aunt Mary. I was so afraid you wouldn't. Even though Lefty and Randy were here, I missed you.
He must have been very distressing for you.
Oh, Aunt Mary, it was awful. The sarcastic way he smiled, the things he asked me. Everybody would just have to think that there was something wrong between Bill and me.
Oh, now, dear, you mustn't think that. The people in this neighborhood are all very fair. And most of them have known you all your life.
Oh, but Aunt Mary, you don't know. The way he asked the questions, I almost felt guilty myself. You know that feeling you get, even when you know yourself that nothing's wrong, but you realize that people are thinking there is.
I do wish I could have been here.
You couldn't have done anything, Aunt Mary. I could see Randy and Lefty, their faces. They were so unhappy, and I could tell they wanted to help me, but they couldn't. I just felt all alone and helpless up there.
Well, don't worry, dear. It'll soon be over.
I just wish I could go someplace and hide. All the lovely talks Bill and I used to have, his plans for the future, our picnics and canoe rides, Farnsworth made it seem like they were things we shouldn't have done. And the times Bill used to stop by to see you and perhaps visit a moment on his way home from Camp Downing, he made those times seem like secret meetings between us. Something we were doing behind Kit's back.
Now, dear. You've been wonderful up to now. Be brave just a little longer.
I'll try. Aunt Mary.
Yes, dear?
I don't understand about Lisa. Why is she...
I can't explain now, Peggy.
All right. But it seems odd. She didn't even say hello to any of us. Now she's sitting up there by herself.
Well, Lisa's not feeling very well, dear. I think it's better not to disturb her at the moment.
Oh? Well, of course, Aunt Mary, whatever you say. But everything's so mixed up. My head aches so. Aunt Mary, do you think I'll have to go back again? I'm so afraid I'll say something that'll make it all the worse for Bill.
Well, don't worry about it, dear. Everything's going to be all right.
I wish I could believe that.
You must believe it, dear. Just trust me. I know what I'm saying.
Oh, of course I trust you, Aunt Mary. Just that Mr. Farnsworth makes these ugly insinuations. I don't want to lose control, but I'm so afraid if it keeps up much longer, I might cry up on the stand. I'd hate to give them that satisfaction.
Never mind, dear. You won't. Believe me.
Court will please come to order.
Your Honor,
Mr. Farnsworth.
with your permission, I am ready to continue questioning my witness, Miss Peggy Douglas.
In just a moment, Mr. Farnsworth. Unfortunately, I must refuse your request. In view of information which has reached the court pertaining to evidence which cast an entirely new light on the facts of this case, we are going to depart from customary procedure at this time.
But, Your Honor, I built up my...
Please be seated, Mr.
Judge
Farnsworth.
Willoughby, I stand on my rights as attorney for the defense.
Mr. Farnsworth, you are out of order. The decisions of this court stand, regardless of what you may or may not think. Now, Mr. McKillop.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you ready to present your new testimony?
That I am.
Very well. You may call your witness to the stand.
Gladly. Mrs. Lisa Fenner.
Lisa Fenner. The name meant nothing to Ben Calvert, and he saw no connection between Kit's absence from the courtroom and Lisa's presence there. But I wonder, Ben, if you aren't soon to learn the connection that exists between your daughter and the young woman who is about to take the stand. Now for our story.
Mr. McKillop,
Yes, Your Honor.
are you ready to present your new testimony?
That I am.
Then you may call your witness to the stand.
Very well. This is Lisa Fenner.
Lisa Fenner walked quietly to the witness chair and seated herself. Slowly, fearfully, she raised her eyes, looking into the faces of the many people whose lives had been changed through her act when she relinquished her baby son to Kit. They looked back at her, some anxiously, some bewildered and puzzled, for none of them, except Aunt Mary Lane herself, had any idea of the revelation she was about to make. The one person who did know, only too well, since the full guilt was hers, was not there. Kit's seat next to Jessie Calvert's was empty. For a moment, Lisa looked toward Jessie and the baby boy Jessie held in her arms, while on the other aisle, a few rows back, Lily Devon leaned toward Aunt Mary's son, Randy.
I don't get this, Randy. Do you understand what's going on?
At this point, Lily, your guess is as good as mine.
Lisa, here. Well, that's the thing that gets me. Randy, look at Peggy. That expression.
Poor kid. She's had a tough time of it lately. Worrying about Bill. And then there's Nicholas. This hasn't been any picnic for him.
Yeah. He must feel something like a punching bag at this point.
Yeah. Not much of a send-off for their wedding.
About the wedding, Randy. Are you sure she wants to go through with marrying Nicholas if Bill doesn't get custody of the baby? Because if he doesn't, there really wouldn't be any reason why... Well, that is, there wouldn't be any obstacle between her and Bill at all, the way I see it.
Well, perhaps it looks that way, but... Oh, it's hard to explain, Lily. Even if the baby is given to Kit, well, Peggy couldn't let Nicholas down now. Not after he's gone through all this, been so patient and understanding. I guess she figures the least she can do is try to make him happy.
I don't know as I could do that. Not if I had someone else on my mind.
No, I don't think you could.
I'm not sure the way you mean that. Compliment or insult?
You know, Lily, you're a...
Whoa, let's not get off on me. Let's stick to the trial.
Okay, if it bothers you. Anyway, it doesn't look as if Farnsworth will question Peggy again.
I hope not.
You know, when I saw the kind of tactics that guy uses, I understood why Bill took a poke at him the other day.
I wish Aunt Mary would tell us what goes.
Lily, lean over.
What?
Yeah, never mind, they're getting started again.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Now, young woman, since this is what you might call the 11th hour in the case, we don't want to waste a lot of time with red tape. I'll just run through the routine questions so that we can get at the meat of the matter in good time. Now, first, your name, if you please.
Lisa Fenner.
Your address.
Well, I've been living in Chicago in a friend's apartment at 55 Oak Street. But just now I really haven't an address. You see, I had intended to take the train to New York last night.
Then apparently something happened to change your mind.
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
And what is your husband's name?
His name is Lance. Lance Fenner.
What is your profession, Mrs. Fenner?
I'm a dancer.
And your husband?
Lance is a dancer, too.
And you and your husband work together professionally as partners, as a team. Is that correct?
That's right.
Tell me, Mrs. Fenner, have you and your husband ever been separated?
Yes, we have.
For how long, please?
We were separated for more than a year.
And during that time, you didn't see Mr. Fenner at all, huh?
No.
Where were you living during this period, Mrs. Fenner?
Well, most of the time I was in California.
In California?
Mm-hmm.
You were in California when you and your husband decided to go separate ways.
Yes, in San Francisco.
But you left San Francisco about that time, did you not?
Yes, I went to Los Angeles.
And eventually returned to Chicago, where you were reunited with Mr. Fenner. Is that how it was?
Well, not exactly. You see, it was some time after I returned to Chicago before I saw Mr. Fenner again.
Then you did not immediately reach an agreement, a reconciliation.
Oh, no.
But at the present time, you and your husband have patched up your differences. Is that true, Mrs. Fenner?
I don't know, Mr. McKillop. I don't know.
Lisa Fenner's voice broke miserably. Did Lance know the truth by now, she asked herself? Had Dell told him after Lisa had stolen out a side entrance the night before, leaving her husband waiting for her in the car in front of Dell's nightclub? And if Dell had told Lance the truth, how did he feel toward Lisa now? As these questions flashed through the young dancer's mind, Dell Shipley in Chicago had just glanced at her watch, thinking...
It's almost 11. They must have started by now. If only Lisa doesn't lose her nerve at the last minute. It means so much to so many people if Lisa tells the truth. It's a good thing Mary came up here yesterday. I couldn't do a thing with that girl. Lord knows I tried hard enough, but I guess I haven't Mary's gift for making people see things right. I talked myself blue in the face, but nothing happened. Not a darn thing, except I usually wind up by getting them good and mad at me. If Lisa doesn't fold up at the last minute, get scared, it'll sure throw a bombshell into that trial. Kit palming that youngster off as her own. Ben Calvert running all over town boasting about his grandson. Oh, I'd give a lot to see the old buzzard's face when Lisa tells him that kid is hers.
Lance took it pretty hard when I told him last night, finding out Lisa's been deceiving him. Not that he's any angel, he knows that. He made his mistakes, and plenty of them. But to find out your wife has a kid, that you're a father all of a sudden, to be told your son's been given away to another woman, well, that would be hard to take. And the way he looked, I couldn't tell if he was sore at Lisa or whether he understood what she'd been up against. Oh, I wonder if he did go down to Huntsville, and if he did, what's he planning to do?
Well, it won't be long now. If I hadn't had that blasted flat tire, I'd be there by now. If only I'm not too late. Before Lisa. I still can hardly take it in. For a minute last night when Mrs. Shipley said, your son, they must be nuts. Lisa. Giving me a runaround. Whatever her reasons were. Guy can't take a thing like that lying down. I know she's easily frightened and all that. But another woman talk her into giving up her own baby. Our baby. Well, I'm taking over now. Gosh, it's a screwy world, the messes people get into. I did act like a heel there in San Francisco. If I hadn't, maybe all this wouldn't have happened. Maybe a guy has to make a lot of mistakes before he knows what the score is. You're lucky if you get some idea about what makes the world tick. Work out some kind of a routine before it's too late. Maybe it's too late now, for me. Well, this must be Huntsville. Yeah. There's a courthouse. Okay, Fenner. This is it. Here's your chance to show that gang you won't be pushed around. Custody suit or no custody suit. They're in for a big surprise in there. Because I know exactly what I'm gonna do. And there are a few people who aren't going to like it.
After Lance Fenner parked his car across from the courthouse, he strode quickly toward the entrance. But Lance was a little late. His wife was already on the stand.